Greetings YouTubers, and welcome back to the continuation of my Arrow video collection overview. And today we're going to go through the Blu-ray editions. These are going to be the regular Amore cases and the slip covers, and it's going to consist of these 4 shelves. And then the final video will be like the box sets right here. The ones that are a little bit like the deluxe box sets and some of the bigger box sets. I will hold these off for the final video. And so today we're just going to go through these 4 shelves. And hopefully it won't take too long, but it'll take as long as it takes. We'll get through this. So get yourselves relaxed to get a beverage and a snack. And let's check out these movies. Now these should be alphabetized, starting with numbers and going A through Z, but don't be surprised if some of these are out of order, but for the most part they should be pretty close. So we'll get in here with, this is the 8 diagram pole fighter. And the next one is 12 Monkeys. Alice Sweet Alice, which will be getting a 4K pretty soon. I think you can actually pre-order it now. It may have even dropped, I'm not sure. I probably will pick it up on 4K, but I really love this edition too with that slipcover. This one was one of the early releases on Blu-ray from Arrow Video. This is Mario Bava's Barren Blood. Pretty awesome movie and a lot of bonus materials there. Big fan of Bava's work. Next one is a really nice slipcover, a weird movie, but it's fun. Basket Case. This is a Frank Henenlotter movie, right? Because if you kind of know what you're getting into with Henenlotter, but it's a fun movie. I really like that slipcover too. It's hard to tell here on camera, but it has kind of like a foil effect, kind of like a shimmering type effect. Next one is called The Beast Within. Creature feature movie with practical effects, pretty good monster with rubber suit. And these next 2 are the same movie, so you're going to see Shock is definitely not in alphabetical order, but I put them together because it's the exact same movie. It just has 2 different titles, and that is Beyond the Door 2. Now this is part 2 in the trilogy of Beyond the Door, and they're also working on a part 4 right now, and they actually got the original actress, I forget her name offhand, I'll look on the back here. She's a British actress, and she was in the first movie that came out in 1974, so a little over 50 years ago, and she's going to star in part 4. So she's got to be, I'm guessing, close to 80 years old. And let's see if I can find her name. Dario Niccolodi is in here, who was Dario Argento's wife and Asia Argento's mother, but we're looking for the actress who played. I'm not seeing it right now. I'm sure you guys can Google it if you're interested. But I thought that was pretty cool that she's coming back 50 years later to reprise her role. And here's the other cover here. Really beautiful stuff. I would recommend that movie if you haven't seen it, and try to get the trilogy and watch those before the 4th one comes out so you're caught up to speed. Here's another really good movie, fun, kind of a drive-in style, Beyond Reanimator. Jeffrey Combs as Dr. Herbert West comes back for that one. And the next one is called Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. It's a Russ Meyer movie. And it also includes the movie called The 7 Minutes. So this is a double feature, Russ Meyer movies. Next one is called The Big Clock. The Big Knife. Black Mama, White Mama, so it's starring Pam Grier, and it's a kind of a blaxploitation, women revenge in prison type movie. Pretty fun. Black Rainbow. Pretty good cast. You got Jason Robards and Rosanna Arquette. A movie by Mike Hodges. I'm not really familiar with his work. Here's another Mario Bava. This is the rare one. This is the 3-disc set, and it was re-released as a 2-disc set. But this one's a little bit harder to find now with the 3 discs in it. See if I can pop this open really quick. See there on the back it says 3-disc edition. And when they re-released it, it was only a 2-disc edition. And I believe the reason why is this was the British Region B edition. And I think when they released it for the US market, for Region A, it's only a 2-disc set. So I enjoy that quite a bit. I'm a big fan of Bava, so I like pretty much everything he did. Here's a trilogy. This is the Black Society trilogy. These are movies by Takashi Miike, who's one of the greatest to ever do it. You get, here we go, for me trying to pronounce Japanese stuff, but as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to try to attempt that. But there are the 3 movies that you get right there, if you want to try to pronounce that at home. I think if you try to say those 3 names in the mirror, Takashi Miike shows up. Next one is Blind Woman's Curse. Herschel Gordon Lewis's Blood Feast. Very low budget, very poor acting, always over the top gore, but these are fun drive-in movies. Next one's called Blood Rage. This is the DVD Blu-ray movie. Nico Mastorakis, Bloodstone. I'm a big Mastorakis fan too, and I really enjoy his work, most of it. There's a couple that were duds, but the majority of his stuff is very watchable. Here's another one. This one's called Blood Tide. You may recognize a very young James Earl Jones. There. There's a Giallo movie called The Bloodstained Butterfly. Blu-ray DVD combo. Here's another Henenlotter movie, Brain Damage. Another great cover, kind of a foil effect. Here's Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. This one's from the 70s action. Let me see here. 1974. And if you want, you can pause it and read the limited edition stuff there. There's a bonus Blu-ray. This is a good one. The Brotherhood of Satan. I got this one really, really cheap with the slipcover. I think I paid less than $10 for this one, and I haven't watched it yet. Burt Lancaster, Brute Force by Jules Dassin. That's another good one. This one came out in, is it the late 50s? It doesn't say on the back. Yvonne DiCarlo is in here. She played Lily Munster. Anything with Lancaster in it is solid. He was a great, great actor. Really fun slasher movie from the 80s. In the vein of Friday the 13th, or movies like that. This one's called The Burning. The killer name is Cropsey, and he's hell-bent on vengeance for, well, I'll let you watch the movie, but he gets burned. It's an accident that happens. They were trying to prank him, and it went very, very wrong. It went sideways in a hurry. He ended up getting really deformed by the fire, and he takes out his bloody revenge in really gruesome ways. Some pretty fun kills in there. Pretty creative. Next one is a Blu-ray DVD combo of Burnt Offerings, Haunted House movie. Oliver Reed is in this one. Karen Black. Oliver Reed is one of my top 5 favorite actors of all time. That guy was great. That's a fun haunted house movie. In the 70s, they had a few killer car movies, and that's what this one is, The Car. Another Giallo. This is Sergio Martino's The Case of the Scorpion's Tail. This is a French Western in the vein of like a spaghetti Western. It looks very much like an Italian Western. It's pretty good. And for the longest time, this has been out for a while now, but before this was released on Blu-ray by Arrow, it didn't have a very good, clean copy. I bought a German DVD, and the print was terrible. It was almost unwatchable, but Arrow cleaned it up, and this looks really, really good on Blu-ray. This was one of the best transformations that I've seen from DVD to Blu-ray, because the DVD was just, it was awful, and then they cleaned it up so good. It looks really, really good, and I recommend Cemetery Without Crosses. Next one is the original Children of the Corn. I'm not the biggest fan of killer kids movies, but this is an excellent movie. I really enjoy that one. This one's called Chill Factor. Very low budget. Killer on the loose in the winter, a winter setting, wintry, kind of a snowy, icy setting. Here's another creature feature movie. Monsters in rubber suits, Chud. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. Fun movie. This is City of the Dead. Not to be confused with City of the Living Dead. This one is from 1960. It's not bad. It's pretty fun. It's not great either, though. Christopher Lee is in here, I think. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, he is. Christopher Lee is in here, right there, right in the middle of the screen there. All right, focus. There we go. Here's some trauma, silliness, Class of Nukem High. It's not bad. This would be a good, if you're going to watch a twin bill one night, if you want to watch a double feature, put in Class of Nukem High and what do you call it? My mind just went blank. Street Trash. It's very similar, Street Trash. Next one is called The Climber. It's an Italian movie. I watched it, but I'm drawing a blank on this too. I don't remember what it was about. So this is the same director that did Flesh for Frankenstein and Blood for Dracula, Joe D'Alessandro. The Climber follows in the tradition of gangster classics such as The Public Enemy and Scarface, as it charts the rise of the inevitable fall of small-time smuggler Aldo. I don't want to read the whole thing, but it's not really ringing a bell to me. I might have to watch that one again. these are always fun movies. I really love Pam Grier, and she was great in the 70s. And Jack Hill did a few movies with Pam Grier. This one's Coffee. Definitely recommend that one. And the next one is called Cold Light of Day. This is about a serial killer based on a true story. I believe it was a British serial killer. Nilsson. They called him the British Jeffrey Dahmer. And this one was limited to 2,000 units. I don't know if you can see that there in the top, kind of in the middle of the screen. And there's a lot of bonus materials here. Dennis Nilsson, right? Is that what his name is? I think it is Dennis Nilsson. And the next one, kind of an extraterrestrial sci-fi horror movie called Contamination, also called Contamination .7, I believe. Stars Ian McCullough. He was in Zombie Flesh Eaters or Zombie 2. Luigi Cozzi was the director. He did Star Crash and Hercules. And this is a region A and B. And where's the year? I'm not seeing it. It says Contamination takes the premise of Ridley Scott's classic Alien and peppers it with exploding guts galore and an infectious soundtrack by Goblin. So that's always a plus. Goblin are a great group. They put out some great soundtracks for movies that we enjoyed over the years. This one's called Cinema Paradiso. I think this one was a Barnes & Noble exclusive, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I could be wrong. I can't remember everything all the time. But what I liked about this one was it comes with a couple different documentaries. And the first one is called, let's see, A Dream of Sicily. That's a 52-minute documentary. And it also comes with a 27-minute documentary called The Making of. So there's some really good stuff on here. I don't see anywhere on the back where it says it's an exclusive to, oops, why is it so blurry? Sorry about that. There's two different cuts of the film, and it's a very long movie. The first one's a little bit over 2 hours, 124 minutes. And the second one is almost 3 hours. It's 174 minutes. And this one is region A locked. So this is in Italian language only with English subtitles. So be aware of that. If that kind of bothers you, you might not want to pick that up. And the next one, kind of a 1980s femme fatale type movie called Crimes of Passion, starring Kathleen Turner and Anthony Perkins. And this was definitely in the 80s, 1984 it says. And there are the bonus materials there. It's a Ken Russell movie. Okay. A couple more here on shelf one. This is Dark Water. Not to be confused with the Italian monster movie Dark Water. This is the Japanese Dark Water. Kind of like The Ring type. The Ring was really good. This one came out in 2002, and Arrow released it in 2016. I haven't even opened this one yet. Still in the seal. All right, two more left on the shelf one, and I'm gonna take a quick break and get something to drink, and we'll go to shelf two. This one is David Cronenberg's early works. So you get 4 movies that he did when he was really young, early into his career, and they're really, really short. So the first one is only 6 minutes, and then 13 minutes, and then the last 2 are 63 minutes apiece. Now, I bought this before. There's a different Cronenberg movie, and that Arrow released, and I can't remember which one, but it has this on it. It has all of these on it as a bonus feature. So I really don't need this anymore, and I got this before, and I don't remember which edition that was. But yeah, you don't have to pick that up if you don't want to, because it's on bonus materials somewhere else. And this is the last one for shelf 1, and this is an excellent movie. Has a couple of great actors, Lee Van Cleef and Giuliano Gemma. This is an Italian spaghetti western called Day of Anger. Yeah, this is really good stuff here. There's 2 different cuts of the movie. One's 114 minutes and one's 86 minutes. And you can see all the bonus materials there. And Giuliano Gemma was great. He was a really, really good actor. As was Lee Van Cleef. Lee Van Cleef was top-notch. These guys were good together. So I'm going to pause it here and I'll be right back. Okay, so these next 3 shelves will be a little more comfortable for me. It's kind of a pain to keep your arm raised so high for that long of a time. It starts to cramp up a little bit. Here's a Takashi Miike triple bill. You got Dead or Alive 2 Birds, and Dead or Alive Final. Japanese action. Next one's called Dead End Drive-In. I also got this one really cheap. This one was at an FYE in my city. A couple years ago I got this. And it was sitting there for a long, long time. And they dropped the price a couple different times on this, and I got it really cheap. And it's not the greatest movie. But I'm glad to have it, though. And Wes Craven's Deadly Blessing. This was a good one. This is one of Wes Craven's very earliest movies, and also has a very young Sharon Stone in here. And it has Ernest Borgnine. Good stuff. This one came out in 1981. Kind of a hillbilly cult family. Next one is a slasher movie called Deadly Games. Serial killer on the loose, taking people out. They gotta try to track them down. Those are fun. Next one's called Deadly Manor. This one was weird. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It had a weird ending. But sometimes it's good to have weird endings, so they're not predictable, I guess. But I would recommend that one if you like slasher movies. This might be one of the best titles. Death Has Blue Eyes. "77 minutes running time. 1976. It's a Nico Mastorakis movie. Now these next 2 are the same movie, so I'm going to pull them both out. They just have different slipcovers. One of them was a Arrow Video website exclusive, and I don't remember which. I think it may have been this one was the website exclusive, and then this was the one that anybody can get anywhere, I guess, wherever they were selling them. This was pretty good, though. It had kind of a different premise to it. It had a female killer in it, and it really worked. I thought it was very well done. Very psycho woman. She just snaps and loses it and just starts slaying people. Here's another great title. The Italians were great for naming their movies. Death Smiles on a Murderer, Joe D'Amato, I'm sorry. And this one came out in 1973. And you can see the bonus features there. Haunting Gothic Horror Giallo Hybrid. Look at that cover. That cat is just turning him into hamburger meat. Next one's called The Deeper You Dig. And I still haven't watched this one yet. This one came out in 2019, I think, according to this. And Arrow released it in 2022. I don't know for sure that this was released in 2019. I don't know. That's what it says on the back. Here, this is a great cast. You got Chuck Norris and Lee Marvin, the Delta Force. Tough Guys action movie that I remember renting on VHS. These are the kind of movies my dad used to like, so whatever he liked, I would watch with him, and I liked them too. And this is a pretty long movie, but it's well worth the sit down. 129 minutes. And this came out in 1986. From Canon Films. Blu-ray DVD combo, I think. Let's see. Hold on, I don't want to drop it. Looks like it may just be a Blu-ray, and then you got, yeah, it's a Blu-ray, and then you got a booklet and a art card in there. I don't want to go through all these, it'd take way too long. But I do recommend Delta Force if you like the tough guy action movies like that. The next one is called Deranged, and Vinegar Syndrome just released the 4K of this, which I pre-ordered. And this to me is the closest that you'll get to seeing the true story of Ed Gein. There's a lot of them that were too much over the top. You know, there was an Ed Gein movie with Tom Savini, who played Ed Gein, which is completely not the same type of build. Ed Gein was a short, slight, kind of a skinny-ish fella, and Tom Savini's like a hulking maniac. You know, he's the guy that plays Jason Voorhees. It didn't work. I mean, they were just going for something crazy. But this kind of portrays Ed Gein, who is Wisconsin's own, not that I'm proud of that. Wisconsin's a state I live in. And this was well before my time. Ed Gein died in prison when I was just a kid. I think he died in 1980 in a mental institution here in Wisconsin. But if you're interested in seeing, I guess, not that I studied him, but I did watch a lot of stuff about Ed Gein over the years and read stuff about him, just because it's fascinating. Like what made his mind work like that? You know, he was a grave robber. He was making furniture out of bones and skin of people that he was digging up. He would sit them around a table and eat dinner with them, and they were keeping him company in his mind. This is the closest you're going to get to seeing what it was really like, because I've seen just about everything about Ed Gein and read just about everything, and this is the closest thing to it. So let's go back up here. Here's another true crime one. This is about the bank robber extraordinaire, gangster Dillinger, John Dillinger. Also, he has some ties to Wisconsin. He robbed a couple banks here in Wisconsin. Again, I'm not proud of that. It's just a fact. And this one came out in 1973. And hold on a second here. Cloris Leachman, Warren Oates, Michelle Phillips. I wonder if that's Michelle Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas. I'm not sure. I guess it would be easy enough to find out on Google. Next one is Django, Prepare a Coffin, starring the greatest Django, Franco Nero. And this one was from the 60s. Spaghetti Western, filmed in Rome, I believe. And yeah, I'm not seeing a year. If I don't see it right away, I just keep moving. We still have 2.5 shelves to go. Next one's called Doberman Cop. This is a Japanese action movie. I guess move a little bit quicker until we get to some of the more interesting ones. This one's called Doom Asylum. This was an upgrade for me. I have the DVD from Code Red from years ago. This is a pretty fun movie. Don't Go in the House. This is it's okay. It's kind of like Psycho, the movie Psycho with Anthony Perkins, and this guy hears voices. He lives in a big mansion with his mother, and he goes off the deep end and he starts doing crazy stuff. Here's Fulci's Don't Torture a Duckling, another serial killer type movie. Here's Brian DePalma's Dressed to Kill, very interesting movie. It has a really weird twist ending, but I saw it coming a mile away. Oops, whoa, almost dropped my phone there. Sorry about that. I recommend this one. It has a twist ending, but like I said, I saw it coming. I don't know if everybody saw it coming or if I just got lucky. Abel Ferrara's The Driller Killer. Low budget, grimy, New York City type serial killer movie. Here's Tobe Hooper's Eaten Alive, not to be confused with the Italian cannibal movie Eaten Alive. This is very similar to Texas Chainsaw Massacre because there's like a hillbilly redneck family that's killing guests that I think it was a hotel that they had. It was either an apartment building or a hotel, and they would feed people to their pet crocodile or alligator that lived underneath the house. There was like a drop floor that went down into the water underneath the house, and the alligator would eat the people. Next one's called Edge of the Axe. Pretty average, run-of-the-mill slasher movie. If nothing else, that cover's pretty awesome. Anthony Perkins, Edge of Sanity. That guy could play crazy really good. He was a great actor. Evil Ed. Kind of a dark comedy horror. This is Franco Nero. He's a fifth chord. He is a detective? I think he's a detective or FBI or something, and he's chasing a serial killer. And, or maybe he works for the newspaper. I can't remember now. It's been a while. And the woman that he's in love with is being stalked, and he's trying to do everything he can to catch this killer before he kills his lover. You have to tune in to see if he does. Here's another title for you. Look at this one. The Forbidden Photos of a Lady Above Suspicion. Luciano Ercoli. Some great titles here. Here's Mario Bava's 5 Dolls for an August Moon. This is my favorite Pam Grier movie, Foxy Brown. This was probably the one that really put her on the map. But she's been doing solid work for a long time. I'm not sure if she's still making movies, but she was everything in the 70s. She was really good. This is Friday the 13th from 2009. Pretty good. This is a really good edition. I mean, it looks really good on Blu-ray. Here's Brian DePalma's The Fury. These two are the same title, or the same movie, but different titles, I should say. They're the exact same movie. Hold on, let me put this one and this one. The same movie. So you got Girls Night Out. One of these was the Arrow website exclusive, and I'm thinking it was this one right here, but I could be wrong. I'm just taking a guess. It's 50-50. I like the odds, so I'm going to say this is the website exclusive. But this was a pretty good movie. I heard some people kind of poo-pooing it, but I always find enjoyment in movies I watch. Here's another Lee Van Cleef, The Grand Duel. This is another good one. If you want to get into spaghetti westerns, this would be one to pick up for your collection. Pick up the Django movies. What was the other one? Day of Anger. I would pick that up. And also there are some box sets from Arrow that are spaghetti western heavy. And there's 3 editions to that, 3 volumes of it. And I would recommend those too, and we'll see those in the next video. Here's the Guyver, and this is one hell of a cover here. This is really nice. You can see how the light kind of hits the eyes. Gives it kind of a nice little foil effect. The creature feature sci-fi. This one came out in 1991. It was released by Arrow in 2016. Michael Berryman is in here. You can see him there at the top. And yeah, Mark Hamill and the team behind horror classic Reanimator joined forces for this electrifying live-action adaptation of Yoshi Takaya's celebrated manga series. I think it's manga, I'm not sure. Hangmen Also Die, Fritz Lang, Blu-ray DVD combo. I believe this is in German. Nope, it's English language and English subtitles. Movie that came out in 1942, right during World War II. And Fritz Lang was a German. It's interesting. Here's a Japanese, really weird movie by Takashi Miike, The Happiness of the Katakuris. Let me see here, 2001. If you want to pause it and check out those. There's a documentary on here too about that movie. So these next two are pretty limited. This is Hell Comes to Frogtown, starring Roddy Piper. Sci-fi comedy. This was limited there to, I don't know if you can see that, 1,000 copies. And this one is called Hellgate. It stars Ron Palillo, who was Horshack in Welcome Back, Kotter. And this one was also limited to 1,000, if you can see that there. And you can see the bonus features. This movie, Hellgate, it's not great, but I would recommend you watch it. It's still pretty fun. Now, these two movies are the same movie with different titles again. Same thing. One of them was a Arrow Video website exclusive, and one was not, but there you see. That crazy lady. You know what? I think I mixed up. This is the one that had the female, the killer female. She snapped and went nuts. What did I say the other one was? I think I mistake. I saw both of these, but I see so many movies, I can't remember which ones are which. Here's a good movie. This is an American Western starring Peter Fonda, who was the son of Henry Fonda and the brother of Jane Fonda. Also Warren Oates and Verna Bloom. This is called The Hired Hand. Peter Fonda died about like a year or so ago already. And this one came out in 1971. Next one is Nico Mastorakis, Hired to Kill. Look at that cast. George Kennedy, Brian Thompson, and Oliver Reed. Good stuff. Horror Express. This one has some big British names too. Some legends. You got Christopher Lee, you got Peter Cushing, and then you also do have Telly Savalas. Next one's called Horrors of Malformed Men. And I still have not watched this yet. I've had it for a long time and I still haven't watched it. It came out in 1969. It's region B locked. But I have two region free players, so region doesn't bother me at all. I recommend a region free player to everybody. Here's Howling 2. Your Sister's a Werewolf, which also has a Vinegar Syndrome 4K release, which I also ordered. Now, I'll be showing that in an update video coming up. I don't know when, but you'll see it at some point. This one was pretty good. Next one's called Incident in a Ghost Land. This one was really creepy. It kind of takes a lot to creep me out during a movie now, because I mean, you know it's fake. But this one was pretty suspenseful. It was pretty good. It was kind of modern too. When did this come out? 2017 this came out. If you haven't seen this one, do check it out. The next one also has a 4K release on Vinegar Syndrome. This is The Incredible Melting Man. I think it has one on Vinegar Syndrome, the 4K release. 1977, this is a splatter flick. An astronaut comes back to Earth and he picked up a virus when he was out in space, and it turns him into a flesh-eating lunatic, like a zombie-like figure. And here's the iguana with the tongue of fire. Another great title. You see all the bonus materials there. 1971. So that will conclude shelf 2. Let's keep moving. Let's keep this ball rolling. Okay, shelf 3. This is the remake, Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978, starring Donald Sutherland. This is a good one. Sci-fi horror. Next one's called The Initiation. 1996, is that what that says? Hold on. My phone was blurry for a second there. I don't know what's going on tonight. That looks a little better. It looks blurry. I don't know what's going on with that. Vera Miles, Clu Gulager, New World Pictures. Introducing Daphne Zuniga. Next one's called The Initiation of Sarah. This was a made-for-TV movie back in the 70s. And back then, they used to have really, really good television horror movies. You know, the made-for-TV stuff. Now everything's an app or a pay channel, but back then it was pretty cool. Next one's called The Invisible Man Appears, and it also has a second feature called The Invisible Man versus the Human Fly. And this one came out in 1949 and 1957, respectively. Here's one of the movies from Nico Mastorakis that I'm not gonna talk smack about it or anything. I just didn't really care much for this movie. Maybe you will, I don't know. I doubt that I will ever watch this again, probably. And if I do watch it again, it'll just to kind of see if I feel different about it, but I doubt that I'm gonna enjoy this one. This one, 1976. Alfred Hitchcock's Jamaica Inn with Charles Laughton and Maureen O'Hara. This one's black and white. And 100 minutes running time, 1939. You know, if it's from Alfred Hitchcock, it's got to be pretty good. The master of suspense himself. Here's JD's Revenge. Did you guys ever see the movie Creepshow 2? I think it was Creepshow 2, where there was a hitchhiker and he gets hit and killed, but he keeps popping back up. Thanks for the ride, lady. Thanks for the ride. Was that Creepshow 2, or am I thinking of something different? That's what this movie kind of reminds me of. Franco Nero as Keoma. And there's not too many actors that were better than Nero, in my opinion. He was really great. I wish he would have had more stardom here in the US. I think over time he's become kind of a cult favorite and his movies have become cult classics, but I think for the longest time he was more known in his Italian Western. Well, he's an Italian anyway, but he was in a lot of these Italian genre movies, and that's where he made his bones. Here's Bava's Kill Baby Kill. This is a good one. 1966. I recommend that one. Here's one that has probably about 1,000 different releases. This is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, but it's silly fun. You can pop this on in the background when you're doing other stuff. It's I guess it's pretty fun, but it gets old pretty quick too, to me anyway. Here's a movie called The Killers, directed by Don Siegel, who also did Dirty Harry. And this one came out in 1964. And this one is excellent. This is a really good movie by Stanley Kubrick, The Killing. It's about a heist. Very suspenseful. There's a lot of skullduggery in this movie. There's a lot of backstabbing because there was a group of individuals who were going to rob, I believe it was a race? They were robbing a horse race or something. And they teamed up. They created a team, and each person on the team had a different task that they had to complete to make the perfect heist to steal and get out. But it all falls apart and they start turning on each other, and it's really, really excellent. The writing in this is, the acting, everything about this was great. This is a really, really good movie. This one's called Kill and Pray, another spaghetti western. George A. Romero's Night Riders. Instead of riding horses in Camelot, they're riding motorcycles. Here's La Grande Buffet, also known as The Big Feast. (1973). It's in French language with English subtitles. Here's one I got simply because I live like 2 blocks away from Lake Michigan, and I grew up in and around the waters of Lake Michigan. This one's called The Lake Michigan Monster. There are no monsters in Lake Michigan, but that lake is wicked. There's 5 Great Lakes in the US, and that one claims the most lives because of the rip currents and stuff like that. There's just a lot of shipwrecks and drownings in that lake. You have to be really careful. You have to be respectful of Lady Michigan. Here's a good one here. This is Tobe Hooper's Life Force. It's a good outer space vampire type movie. I really like this one. And I mentioned it before, but this would be a good twin bill with Planet of the Vampires and Life Force. That would be a great double bill. Here's an urban legend type slasher movie called Lover's Lane. This one came out in 1999. Next one's called Madhouse. Ghost Haunted House movie, 1981. All right, next one is called Madman. It's a wild man in the woods, stalking campers and stuff like that. It's not a new idea. It's been done a million times before, but this is pretty good. This is also kind of a urban legend type movie. At least in the movie, they say if you say his name, Madman Mars, I think it was 3 times, then he'll chase you down or something like that. But yeah, he's pretty intimidating. It's a big guy wielding an axe and just brutally destroying people. Here's another one of my favorite actors, top 5 for sure. James Cagney, The Man of 1,000 Faces. A tribute to Lon Chaney, another cinema legend. This movie came out in, let's see, it looks like 1957. Black and white. James Cagney was one hell of an actor. He was an actor and a dancer. He was really good. The next one is limited. Massacre Gun. This one was limited to 3,000. It's a movie that came out in 1967. Japanese action. Blu-ray DVD combo. This movie is ridiculous right here. Microwave Massacre. Cool cover. It's all region. Came out in 1983. Here's one I really enjoyed, but back in the VHS days, and I think I've owned it on DVD before and Blu-ray. Motel Hell. It's a dark comedy. It takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters. Here's another one. Before Arrow put this out, it didn't have a proper DVD release. And people were, some of the people who do these like fan-made or bootleg editions are really good. And there was a good print that somebody had from a VHS rip. And they were selling it in a DVD, which I bought years and years and years ago. And it looked really good. It had a good sleeve, you know, a good artwork on the sleeve. The disc looked pretty good. The picture was pretty good. And up until Arrow put this out, there wasn't even a DVD release of this officially. And then they released it in DVD and Blu-ray. And this is really good. I think this is probably one of their best releases just because of the history of it. I got to get something to drink. I'll be right back. So we're up to My Darling Clementine, movie by John Ford, featuring the great Henry Fonda. Can't go wrong with Henry Fonda. You get a bonus Blu-ray disc, so it's a 2 Blu-ray disc. Disc 1 has My Darling Clementine theatrical version, and disc 2 has Other Wyatt Earp Tales limited edition exclusive. I don't know what this was limited to, but I'm glad to have it. Here's a fun Italian zombie movie. I really like this one. Hugo Stiglitz is in this one. Nightmare City. Look at all the bonus materials there for this movie. It's an Umberto Lenzi movie, right? Let me see here. I think this is Lenzi. I don't have time to keep looking. Next one's called The Naked City. It's another Jules Dassin movie. Is this Jules Dassin? Yeah. I shouldn't second guess myself, but I don't want to give you guys the wrong info. And it's impossible to remember everything all the time. So I do make mistakes. The next one is, this was pretty fun. I had never even heard of this movie before until Arrow put it out. It's called The Navigator, a Medieval Odyssey, and it's a time travel movie. But the twist is, it's like these ancient people are transformed into modern, like the modern days. And it's a Vincent Ward movie. This was pretty good. I would recommend this one. It came out in 1988. It also has a documentary on here too. This is pretty fun. I like going into movies that I never heard of and being pleased. It doesn't happen a lot, but that was a case there. This is a Valley Girl, kind of a post-apocalyptic movie called Night of the Comet. If I remember, they were in a movie theater or something like that, or a shopping mall, and while they were in there, a comet fell and destroyed Earth, and it turned people into monsters. And these two Valley Girls, Catherine Mary Stewart, and she looked really good in this movie too, and Kelly Maroney. Those were the two girls. So these two girls have to survive. This is an excellent movie. This is definitely one that I would recommend. I have before. The Night of the Hunter. Robert Mitchum. It was great. That guy is a phenomenal actor. That's one I can watch every year. Next one's called Nightmare at Noon, another Nico Mastorakis movie. Pretty good. Not great, but good. One-Armed Boxer. I still haven't watched this one yet. I don't know anything about it other than it's a one-armed boxer. This one came out in 2010. This movie was excellent. I watched it during when we were all locked down a few years ago now. This was one of the movies I watched, the Oxbow incident. This movie was amazing. Something bad happens in this movie, and it divides people. Some people really feel strong one way, and some people really feel strong the other way. And there's a man's life who is hanging in the balance. So it's a mob rules type movie. So whoever feels most one way or the other, that's going to be the fate of this guy. I don't want to give more than that. I think maybe I gave too much. This is definitely a great movie. Henry Fonda's also in here. Anthony Quinn was also in here. He's another great actor. And Henry Morgan from MASH, he's in here too. Even when he was young, Henry Morgan, he sounded just like Colonel Potter. He had that same voice. And I would definitely recommend Oxbow Incident. That movie is amazing. This is The People Under the Stairs, Wes Craven. I know they had been planning to remake this for years, and still nothing's ever come of it. I'm not sure if they're ever going to do it. Again, that's something you probably Google and find out easy enough. Here's Phantom Lady. Black and white femme fatale, kind of a noir movie, 1944. Brian DePalma, Phantom of the Paradise. You've got a really good soundtrack in this one. Look at all the bonus features you get. A 72-minute interview with Paul Williams by Guillermo del Toro. Wow. 92 minutes running time. Where are we here? Here's a double bill. Another spaghetti western. You get A Pistol for Ringo and The Return of Ringo. Pretty good stuff here. This was Region A, locked. 102 minutes and 97 minutes. And these came out in the 60s. 1965, it looks like, and 1966. It's another Jack Hill movie, I believe. Pit Stop, is this Jack Hill? It is. Jack Hill, sure is. There are the bonus features. I'll keep moving. Here's Pray for Death, Sho Kasugi. This was also limited, but I don't remember what it was limited to, and it's not on the back. It may have been 3,000. Samurai type movie. I love Japanese cinema anyway, so here's The Prey. It's a limited 2-disc edition, limited to 3,000 pieces there in the middle of the screen. And you get, there's 2 different cuts. You get the US theatrical cut, which is 80 minutes, and you get the international cut on disc 2, which is 97 minutes. Here's kind of a trippy British movie called Psychomania from 1972. The living dead are a delinquent biker gang fond of causing havoc on British roadways and making out in graveyards. Here's a horror Giallo movie, the Pajama Girl case. You can watch it in Italian language or English. And I think this was, oh no, it says 1977. I would have said late 60s. I would have been way wrong. There's David Cronenberg's Rabid. This is a fun movie. It's another one of those virus type movies that turn people into flesh munching zombies. And these zombies move quick, kind of like 28 Days Later, where the zombies are really fast and they can chase you. That's similar to this one. Another Sho Kosugi, Rage of Honor. Those are fun. I like to kind of marathon those Japanese action movies. Like on a Sunday, if it's raining out or something, I'll watch like 2 or 3 in a row if I got nothing else to do. But I don't want to make it sound like that's all I do is watch movies. There's a lot of other things I have to do too, but every once in a while I can sit down and watch back-to-back movies. This one's called Raising Cain. You'll see John Lithgow in a completely different light because he's normally known as like a bubbly, kind of a cheerful guy, but he's not in this movie. He's a real bastard. And this is the limited edition. Discs 1 and 2 are the theatrical versions on Blu-ray and DVD. And then disc 3 is the director's cut limited edition, Blu-ray exclusive. And it came out in 1992. Here's a British monster movie called Rawhead Rex. Clive Barker, I believe it was an adaptation from one of his stories, or did he direct this? I don't recall. Okay, it was adapted from Clive Barker's short story with the same name, Rawhead Rex. Sees a hulking, bloodthirsty demon unwittingly unleashed upon a small Irish village. And he's a big monster in a rubber suit. It's been a while since I saw this. I have seen this a couple times, and if I remember, they accidentally bring him back to life, the monster, while they're out digging in a peat bog. They're taking out these chunks of sod from peat bogs, and they come across this monster, and he kind of comes back to life. And he's pretty pissed. And here is a Ray Harryhausen special effects titan. This is pretty much a documentary, and I believe that this is also an extra on one of the movies. So you really don't need this, but I don't remember which movie it was. This is just kind of like an extra. So that will do it for shelf 3. I think we're making decent time. It's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but we have one more shelf, and I wanted to make sure I did this the right way and not rush it. So, well, I better stop talking. Let's keep moving. All right, so we made it to the last stretch here. I appreciate it if you're still watching. Thank you, as always. The next one here is called Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. This is a pretty good movie from the 80s. It bombed, unfortunately, at the box office. And from what I hear and from what I remember from reading about this, is they had planned to make a trilogy with Remo Williams as the main, hero or the main protagonist in this trilogy. And since the movie bombed at the box office, they canceled part 2 and 3. But over the years, this has gained a cult following, and people know about this movie. Next one's called Retaliation. More Japanese goodies. This one was limited to 3,000. Okay. Next one is called Return of the Killer Tomatoes. 2002. I think it was way before that, though. It says this was the classic follow-up from the 1978 Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. It says here 2002, but I don't think that's right. I'm not sure when that came out. Here's Jules Dassin again in Rififi. Rififi, French argot. Quarrel, rumble, free-for-all, open hostilities between individuals or gangs, rough and tumble confrontation between two or more individuals. And this is also in French, I believe. It is. It's French language with English subtitles. Jules Dassin was a great director. This is a fun movie, Runaway Train. I like it and I would recommend it, but Eric Roberts in this movie, he's really annoying. He's a really great person in real life. I don't know him personally, but during our lockdown, I have a friend named Jordan who's given up 96 here on YouTube. And during the lockdown, Jordan, I don't know if he sent Eric Roberts an email or how he got a hold of him, but he was able to send in some memorabilia to Roberts, and he signed it and sent it back for free, I guess. So that tells me right there that he's a good guy, and he's a pretty decent actor. He's good enough, but he was really, really, really annoying in this movie, almost too much. But I still enjoy that movie. I thought it was pretty good. Here's Satan's Blade, a very low budget, underwhelming slasher movie. Probably a little bit lower than average, maybe like a 4 out of 10. Here's Scared Stiff. This is kind of like a voodoo, like a black voodoo, black magic type horror movie. I can't remember if Clarence Williams is in that movie. Here's Schlock, John Landis. It's a comedy. The tagline's pretty funny, though. It says, due to the horrifying nature of this picture, absolutely no one will be admitted. It's pretty fun, though. Landis was always pretty solid with his films. Next one's called The Serpent's Egg. Ingmar Bergman movie starring David Carradine, who was Kwai Chang Caine on Kung Fu, and he was also in Kill Bill movies and other movies and stuff. And he had a very bizarre death. I'm not going to talk about that here on the channel, but if you're interested someday in hearing a little bit more about David Carradine and some of the things that he enjoyed doing, you can read about his death. And this one came out in 1977. Next one was John Wayne's very last movie before he died of cancer. I believe this was 1977. And John Wayne and Lauren Bacall in The Shootist. The backstory about this movie is John Wayne was always a huge Republican, a huge conservative, and Lauren Bacall was a very outspoken liberal Democrat, and they both disliked each other. I don't know how they paired up together in this movie. I don't know how that came to be, but there's a very touching scene at the end of this movie. It gets me every time, and it almost makes me feel like crying because, not to be like some kind of a sap or anything like that, but that was at the end of this movie. That's the last line that John Wayne ever says in a movie, and it's very touching too. He says it to Lauren Bacall. I'm not going to ruin it because I think you should watch this movie, but it'll get you in the feels, that's for sure. Next one's called Shogun's Joy of Torture. Some of the bizarre Japanese body horror type movies. This one came out in 1968. And this is Brian DePalma's sisters. Is this DePalma? Yep, DePalma. 1973. Oh, dang, man, why is I don't know why it keeps going out of focus like that. Here's Slaughterhouse 5. I got this really cheap. I got this during a Arrow sale one time. I think I paid like $5 for this or something like that. I don't think there's even anything inside of here. It's just like a bare bones. There's not even a booklet or anything, just a reversible cover. This may be a second printing, I don't know, but for $5 I grabbed it. Yeah, there's nothing inside of it, just the disc and a reversible cover. The next one's called The Slayer. This was pretty good. A group of friends take a boat out to a remote island, and they come across horrors that they never dreamed they would see, and they start disappearing one by one. This is the director-approved special edition, all region. Came out in 1981. This one was pretty good. It really sets up a good atmosphere on the island to kind of add to that anxiety. Next one's called So Dark the Night. And this one came out in 1946. Another creature feature, kind of a grotesque splatter movie, slugs. You can guess, I mean, just by looking at the picture and the title, I guess you can kind of tell what this one's all about. 1996. Flesh-eating bugs and slugs. And here's Spider Baby. This is another Jack Hill movie. This one has a pretty good cast, too. Sid Haig is in it. Who else was in there? Lon Chaney Jr., right? That's Lon Chaney Jr. right there? How come I'm not seeing his name on the back? I can see Jack Hill, Sid Haig. Maybe that's not. I think that is, though. I'm pretty sure that is Lon Chaney Jr. That might have been one of his last movies. Here's another one kind of in the same vein as slugs. You got killer night crawlers in this one, worms, squirm. And the premise behind this movie was during an electrical storm, a thunderstorm, there was a lightning bolt that struck the ground, and it somehow energized these bugs and worms and maggots or whatever to flesh-eating monsters. Larry Cohen, The Stuff. This is kind of a weird movie, but it's pretty fun. Stripped Nude for Your Killer, Edwidge Fenwick, Andrea Bianchi movie. I really love these Giallo slasher movies. Here's another one, The Suspicious Death of a Minor, Sergio Martino, another Giallo. And Argento's Tenebrae, very good. He has some really, really good filming techniques in this one, where he's if you can kind of picture the floors of like a hotel or an apartment. So he would have the camera, this is one floor, and then you'd see like the bottom apartment below it. And it was really cool how he did that. It's hard for me to explain, you'd have to watch it, but his filming technique was second to none. He was phenomenal. A lot of his movies are just kind of, it's like, wow, he was way ahead of his time. Here's another serial killer movie. This is called Tenderness of the Wolves. This is another one based on a real serial killer named Fritz Harman, the Butcher of Hanover. There's a very bizarre story about Fritz Harman. You can look that up on YouTube here. His head was dissected after he died. They cut his head down the middle. So there's two halves of his face, two halves of his head. And it's still to this day on display in a museum somewhere. And if you Google it, you can see his head split open. Here's another one that I watched during the lockdown, and this is called Terror in a Texas Town. This is another one that pretty much blew me away. I was not expecting, I mean, I didn't know what I was expecting. I was going into it blind. But I was really impressed with this movie. It's a revenge movie, and it's a feel-good movie. There's a father and his son that arrive in the U.S. I think they were from Norway, or they were somewhere in Sweden or Norway or Finland, somewhere out there, in one of those Scandinavian countries. But the townsfolk give him the worst piece of land. They kind of shit on him and they treat him bad. And he didn't mind. He just wants to come over here and earn his nut, you know, and put food on the table and honest day's work, honest day's pay type thing. And they really, you know, they shit on him, just for lack of other way to put it. But while he's out working on his farm one day, he strikes oil. And now his land is worth mint. Like it's, you know, it's worth probably millions of dollars now at this point. And now they're trying to take the land back and they're trying to screw him out of that. And so he has to take a stand, and it's a revenge movie. I'm not going to say any more. It's a very, very good movie. And this is a very, very good movie. This is Thief, starring James Caan. This is another heist movie. This is really good. This one was limited to 3,000 there. It also has Willie Nelson's in here. Who was the guy that played... Oh no, my mind is going blank. For a little bit, he was hosting Unsolved Mysteries after Robert Stack left. And he was a Chicago cop, and then he became an actor. He was in a lot of stuff. I just can't think of his name. He's got an excellent voice. He was a great... Dennis Farina. I'm sorry. It's right there. Dennis Farina is in here. This is a really excellent movie. I would recommend that. Next one's called Thieves Highway, another Jules Dassin movie. Lee J. Cobb is in this movie. A little fun fact about Lee J. Cobb: when he became ill, I think he had a heart attack and he was bedridden in a hospital and he was depressed. And Frank Sinatra was a big fan of Lee J. Cobb. They were friends over the years, and Sinatra liked him a lot. They had a mutual respect for each other. And Sinatra did some really cool things for Lee J. Cobb. If you want to read about that, you can Google that story. I can sit and talk to you about it. It would take me 10 minutes, and we've got stuff to do here. But definitely look that up. It's a fun story. Sergio Martino's Torso, another Giallo. And then this was the 4K of the same movie. Susie Kendall, gorgeous. There's a movie called Trapped Alive. Killer maniac who lives in a cave system, brutalizing people. Came out in 1988. Here's Two Witches. I haven't seen this yet. It looks great. The cover does anyway. This is a newer movie, 2021, I think. The Untamed. I don't even remember buying this one. 2016, is that right? I didn't even know I had this movie. Here's a movie called The Vagrant. And this one has Bill Paxton in it. And Bill Paxton is kind of a nervous guy, and he feels like he's being stalked by somebody, and somebody is watching him. You got to find out. Nobody believes him, though, and that's what makes the movie kind of scary. But here's Versus. Man, this is a nice addition. You get 2 discs. The Visitor. Sci-fi goodness. We Are the Flesh. It's in Spanish language with English subtitles. What have they done to your daughters? Massimino Dallamano. 1974. What have you done to Solange? Another Massimo Dallamano. 107 minutes. That's a long movie, man. 1972. Who Dares Wins. 1982. This is a British movie. Here's a Wild Geese. And there's some big time actors. Man, I did it again. I almost knocked the phone out of my hand. I only got a couple left. I'm limping to the finish line here. What I was saying is there's some big named actors in here, but they're kind of at the end of their careers. And you have these are greats. You got Richard Harris, Roger Moore, Richard Burton, all British powerhouses in the acting world. And it says 2004, but it was not. It was, I believe it was way before that. I would have to Google it, but you can do that if you want to. I thought that was way before 2004. Here's one called The Wind, Nico Mastorakis, 1986. With Nail and I includes How to Get Ahead in Advertising, 1986. And two more. We got Wolf Guy, not Wolf Man, Wolf Guy, 1975, toy company. And the last one, The Zero Boys, probably one of my favorite Nico Mastorakis movies. What I liked about this movie, and it did something different that I had never seen before, is it made there's basically two parts to the same movie. So the first half of the movie was like an action movie, and the second half of the movie was horror, and it was very well done, and I really like it. So that is my Arrow Video Blu-ray collection. The last video, which will be box sets and deluxe editions, that will be the last of my collection videos for Arrow, and I have other things planned, but we'll get to those when we do. So thank you for watching. Take care. Hope you enjoyed this, and maybe I gave you some ideas for your collection. I'll see you next time. Bye.